My name is Damien Schmidt. This is my colleague, John Sandyford. And we were joined by Matthew. Thank you very much. And answering the question, how can we increase cooperation between the French and that side? The short version is apply everything that you guys said to me.
But since we did not travel all the way to Paris, a short version.
I was just going to say, allow me to conclude the conversation. So I guess we kind of focus on one topic also, and really apply the business model canvas. And one area where we found that could use a boost in the collaboration without much red tape would be in the entrepreneurship sector. Problem basically is there's no location to foster entrepreneurship, and foster the creativity, foster the that breeding ground for entrepreneurs, or just somebody with a great idea to go and collaborate with like-minded people in executing the idea or bringing the idea to life. So our solution was basically to create a joint collaborative space, an entrepreneurship center, and of course with that you have the entrepreneurship from the collaboration from both sides.
These guys.
Alright, so we're
I mean, this is what we're supposed to do though. Start with it.
So you don't from the customer segment to the middle. Don't worry, I just learned this business model canvas today, but let's see how it goes.
There's a lot of information, but we're gonna break it down.
Yeah. So over on the customer segment side, we have the entrepreneurs, but also the larger businesses. With entrepreneurs, our definition at the moment are solo guys with sole proprietorships, or a small group of individuals with a startup idea that are trying to get something off of the ground. Along with that is the businesses, and then we're talking about maybe the SMEs, the corporations, not corporations, the smaller businesses with about 5 to 15, 25 employees, and governments as well. So then I'll leave you to into the value proposition.
Okay, basically how it works, just to kind of explain it down, it's color coded obviously. So the value proposition in red applies to the entrepreneurs, also in red, and we plan to get money from them, also in red. But we're going to get to that just now. The value proposition for entrepreneurs or for these creative people with a great idea would be a breeding grounds for, just like I said just now, a place for you to go and work on your idea or meet people or work out your idea. Low investment costs, so you don't really need to invest all that money that that you would have to invest in a normal situation. You increase your network because obviously you're around people who also know this one and who also know that one, and who know how to do this or who know how to do that. There's more promotion and exposure because we are working together. The space itself or the center itself gets promotion, and by a result you also get promotion. And of course there's education because we're organizing workshops, we're organizing those type of stuff, meetings for you to learn and sharpen your skills and get to know new ideas. The value proposition that we have for the businesses is creating an innovative center, or innovative or creative center, service center, where, for example, you have the government or one of the bigger companies that want a new website, for example. They're able to go here and say, hey guys, we want something new, something creative, something out of the box. Boom, you go to this place, and supposedly all the guys that in there should be able to collaborate and help you. And this also would contribute to a return of students because, at least for us, this is kind of be a dream to return home and be able to work in an area like this or in a community like this. The customer relationship that we would have obviously would be a community and a co-creation between the businesses and the center or the people in the center. The channels where we would communicate would be website / online, social media, etc., etc. Mainly face to face because it's a matter of at least if we were supposed to go out tomorrow and put this thing together, it would be a matter of finding the entrepreneurs who are on the island already and getting them to come to the center or move their offices to the center. And we will communicate also via the media in promotions, etc., etc.
So be it newspaper, flyers, posters, billboards, etc. Depending on what fits in the marketing.
Exactly. The key activities that we would have to take care of is the upkeep of the location and the security. Obviously, if I'm a starting entrepreneur, I don't want that when I leave the office in the night, somebody break in and take up my one laptop. The key resources that you would have to have, obviously, the building, and as we mentioned time and time again, high-speed
internet.
And stable electricity.
Yes, because we would not want to be entrepreneurs having business meetings with France or Holland or China and we won't be taken seriously and soon enough we'll be out of business.
Well, your center has been on the French side.
Wow!
No problem.
Okay, so the partners that we would need would be obviously the Dutch side and the French side, international entrepreneurship centers. There's a model that we kind of took from in the Netherlands, which is the Erasmus Entrepreneurship Center. They are very active also in the Global Entrepreneurship Week, which is it's a worldwide event where Holland is actually leading in a few in the major event that they have throughout the year. So we kind of taken that model and their idea of the incubation center and place in the Thompson Martin. Other partners will be telecom providers to make sure that we have that internet. Restaurants and media partners, restaurants mainly because if you're in such a space, if you're in your zone, according to us, like I don't want to have to worry about, oh my gosh, what am I going to eat today, you know? Food should be at a
just like how within a school environment you have a canteen or a lunch area, you should have a partner that would sit in there and set up shop in there to be able to sell to the entrepreneurs and their guests.
Exactly. So for the cost structure, the main things that would cost money would be the location itself, obviously, the utilities, the internet, and the internet connection. And how we plan to make money would be paying the entrepreneurs paying rent, and featured entrepreneurs. John had an idea about.
So also thinking about using the online medium in a better way. We can feature our entrepreneurs on the website. They can get a great looking profile there that creates a lot more exposure for them than that they would have to build up on their own. So with that being said, the website could also become a platform for the entrepreneurship topic as a whole for the whole island. So then we can be looking outside of just the center and looking at other businesses and what they do. And have interviews, for instance, where we as a center highlight one entrepreneur per month. But you can also decide, well, I want to be featured on it, and I'm willing to pay a certain fee for that. And that would also be spread through our channels. So it's really creating a network. It starts first internally within the island, but The idea of this center is that we'll be pulling entrepreneurs from the different regions also to such a place that is unique for, the upper Caribbean region. we were that, and I'm not sure what the purpose.
Yeah, and then the last revenue stream, or at least for now, that we came up with was business meetings. You could imagine government or again a business wants to have a big business meeting or
a presentation of a room such as this or larger, etc.
Exactly.
Those facilities can also be within the center with all the latest technological gizmos that would just be a great fit for having serious meetings.
And of course with good security.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, there's an entrepreneurship center in Rotterdam, Erasmus. It's in one of these buildings. I'm not sure exactly which one it is. But here you see a space. This is a typical entrepreneur space. You have an office. You have to imagine it is you have a building, and instead of typically where entrepreneurs would rent out the office space, instead of renting out the entire office, you rent a room in the office, and we share everything. You understand? So, and then we use this room, together for big conference meetings, for example, or presentations. But on a regular day, you're in your office or in your team. So this will be a typical entrepreneur's space. Of course, it depends on the size. The bigger your room, the more rent you pay. It's very open, very informal, so you don't really have to, it's not a matter of closing your door. Of course, that could be Ancopass adjusted. There's a restaurant and eating facilities, conference, etc. And that was about it. No questions? Good.
Will the center also provide like administrative aid to entrepreneurs, or is it just
Of course, I had mentioned, I thought I had that in, but I didn't know. Yeah, I say I had it in before. Yeah, but that could be because I think there's Hotel Babylon in Den Haag. I hear that they also provide that as well. So you also have the center business area, but they also provide. So basically, it's like having a assistant, a shared assistant, basically secretary.
Well, another thing that we thought about for a while is that we can go crazy and expand on the ideas, and it's within the time frame. We just focused on setting up a skeleton, a foundation, and based on that, it can go in all types of directions and keep on expanding. But the fundamental, the foundation of the idea is that there's an actual place where you can develop yourself.
Yeah.
And as a starting entrepreneur, as an experienced entrepreneur, you can also sit within the facilities and be able to get fresh ideas from the starters. And it works kind of like an incubator where experience helps starters. Starters can bring fresh ideas from experience, and basically just it creates a
Back to your main team. How the question was, how do you cooperate with French and that side? So by implementing all of this, how actually?
All right, so.
Wow, you did this.
Funny that we didn't really highlight that enough, but basically all the elements that you see in here, it has to be a collaboration between both. So an entrepreneur from the Dutch side would be in the same space as an entrepreneur from the French side.
Mm-hmm.
And within that space, if there's a certain synergy between the two, then automatically there becomes a connection. And once there's a connection, then the flow between the two sides it becomes almost irrelevant. There's two entrepreneurs working together. And that's what we're looking not to have the Dutch side entrepreneurship center and the French side entrepreneurship center, but the St. Martin entrepreneurship.
So you create something together, and to add to that, just before we continue, just to add to that, it's not about. Remember, we're trying to use the governments as partners and not necessarily to get them to work together. But this is one project that they both could combine on together without the red tape. Because if you have to sit down and wait on, hey, could we process this? Hey, could we process that? It's going to take too long. Yeah?
But how would you, based on that question, how would you foster the working together? Because there can be two entrepreneurs and they don't necessarily, one's from the Dutch side, one's from the French side, and they don't necessarily have to work together.
Well, again, it's not about the working together, but we create, basically this project, let's call it a project, this project is the government saying, hey, we're going to rent out a space or rent out a building, take an old building, and we're going to subsidize the rent for 5-10 years, for example, just to call a number, right? And then we, our organization then would say, good, that's all we needed. Now the next step is to take the invite entrepreneurs now to the center, basically, and get them to come. You understand what I mean?
How would you do that? How would you motivate the people to, you know?
2 years ago, I was on the islands. I gave an entrepreneurship workshop in Station, and before I was preparing for the workshop, I was like, hey, I might have to do like a brainstorm session first for them to come with ideas. Trust me, these kids were from 12 to 17, 18. Each and every one of those children had an idea already. So imagine those are kids who are 12 to 18. I know for a fact there's more than that in the older generation who's there now. You understand? So I don't think it would be really a matter of finding the people, but more really just creating the space and creating that atmosphere, basically. I think the lady in the back was first, and then Christella, and then Gary.
But how would you get to pull or attract the government, both governments, to see interest in funding this project in order to?
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, I think we would have to come with a couple examples showing how this has worked for other governments around the world. We're not necessarily talking about island governments, but for instance, a big part of this concept is embedded in the space that I'm currently in, and the 1 square kilometer in the Eindhoven region, which I should talk about later. But
Don't give me presentation.
But it has been proven that the fostering of entrepreneurship, of motivating your younger generation and motivating a part of the older workforce, some that got laid off from their jobs or their jobs became irrelevant and non-existent, they had to move on and do something else. And with a space that they can feel that they can go and be at an office that is low investment, so it's not costing them $1,000 per month to for the location.
Yeah.
So make just $100 per month for a desk. I think that should be affordable for someone to start out with.
Yeah, but starting off, finding the right proper spacing, that's
Finding the space, was that a question?
Building, yeah, for both sides to agree. And
that's a logistics that we could have
Yeah.
in the hour and a half.
have to come to them with of money.
Trust
That's
me.
all.
The government,
True.
besides that, the government would in return to win something, but after what the government would gain behind all of
Well, again, it comes down to you investing, just to keep it central, you invested in
Your own people.
your own people, you invested in the community. So it's not really something where, of course, it's not really something that you can get back, okay, next week we can get back 10,000 euros, for example, but it's really invested in creating a space. Moreover, it's more also to invest in the economy. because a lot of students now in this room sitting down thinking, hey, maybe it would be great if I get a job by government, for example. You understand? What if we take that same energy and invest it in our own project? You understand what I mean? So it's a channel for the government to be able to say, hey, we don't have jobs for all of you, but we could put you in this great entrepreneurship center where you could work out a great idea.
And just jumping back to, it's actually good that we came in last, because everyone had a separate idea that can set up a different type of business model. Now imagine if the government has this great facility where you can jump in there as your startup and start to work on these ideas. And not, yes?
Yeah, my question is basically, what is the necessity for both governments to work together for such a project? I don't mean to be screwed, but...
Because again, you don't want to create the that side on and friend side on. You understand what I mean? It's a project that you're starting from the ground up together.
But then
economic relationship.
then they have the pros and cons. For instance,
Obviously.
as a business person, right? I say, okay, I have this facility where I'm meeting those side people and everything, right? So I say, okay, well, that side government working for inside. So at the end, let me open my own business. Let me see what's more beneficial for me now. Should I go to that side or front side? If I go front side, I might pay more tax. And should I go to front side because I pay less tax? These are little things, and this might, I don't know, but this could probably bring it to a one-sided situation.
I believe that whether this center exists or not, if you're a smart guy and you're starting a business and you want to figure out where you're going to pay less tax, you can do that without the center.
That's true, but then if you bring people together, then still push people one way.
Where's the investment in the center then?
From the government, you mean?
But why? That's what
The purpose.
But you know, the government will have share from it. I mean, every company that is built from government fund, government has share both and the company. So that's basically the point here.
Yeah.
It's a logistic, it's not just building a place and then you ask yourself the question of who's gonna get what. You build it from the beginning. I mean, if both governments sit down and on an idea, because this is not new in Europe. This is what's going on right now.
This is the future economy.
Why are we sharing space? Because we don't have the money to pay one another.
Exactly.
So this is what we've seen it here in Paris, in Amman, how they say it. This is what's going on. That means that also our economy is changing, our entrepreneurship is changing. Do we need with all the, because I keep saying that economy is going network. So we no longer need much materials unless you want to open a restaurant. Maybe you can open it for them. I don't know. But the question of where I'm gonna go to the Dutch or French, there are maybe companies that will never even have to come out of there.
Exactly.
And if you build an airport rule, because we all know airport has different rules because it's an international space and wherever country it is, if you build the same idea of the airport international places where taxes are going to get together in this particular place. Once you're in there, you're not going to pay the tough 80% of income tax from the French side and the 20% from the Dutch side, but you're going to pay 60. Half and half. It's going to go to one part, like to the other one.
Exactly.
Maybe think on at the moment that I'm inside this area, am I Dutch or French? Maybe it doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
I'm a Martin.
Exactly. But this comes with the idea of building. It's not just the building with the blocks, it's the building where what is the convention gonna sound like? And this is where you ask yourself these questions. It's possible.
Crystal, I have a question.
Oh yeah, it was also pertaining to what Lisa said, because the center in itself is a good idea, but you actually have to have facilities for the entrepreneurs to actually realize their dreams. So I said, like, you have kids between 12 to 18, they might have an idea, but actually to realize it and get the funding and all the things that
Obviously. But again, those are questions that you would have to deal with even if you don't have the center.
Yeah, but I mean, if the center like facilitates for them,
We usually have like financial team or like
They work along with consultants and advisors and even investors. You can imagine an investor come to the center and they want to know, hey, what's going on, what new projects you guys have, and boom, we're able to organize Exactly. So, and again, it's not even a matter of Dutch or French, it's what these group of people would have that would be interesting to me. understand what I mean? Okay. If there's no questions, no further questions, we'd like to hand it back over to